Welcome, everybody, to the masterclass for dominance and abundance. And Michael and I are so happy to have Chadi Bazzi with us. Hello, Chadi.
We're tickled.
Hey, guys. How are you guys? It's an honor to be in your presence.
Yeah, well, it vice versa, my friend. You're one of our favorites by far.
Exactly. And I think I mentioned yesterday and sent out an email to this effect. We've had so much interest in this masterclass because it's the first time ever that we have actually combined personal branding and sales systems, proven sales systems. So, Chadi, we're excited about this because we know you've got this locked down.
That's for sure.
Yep. You're producing lots of top listing agents over there.
That's the goal. That's what we do. We got a lot of winning people this year.
Oh, that's fantastic. So before we get started in the actual masterclass itself, I thought we'd just do a real cursory introduction for people who are on here who are not familiar with us. And I'll just make mine pretty brief. I'll start here. Since I'm already talking. I'm a founder of BrandFace, and my journey started 30-something years ago in the media world, actually. And that's where I first learned the power of personal branding and how it can affect your business. And so in 2012 or so, I started writing the first BrandFace book, and actually very quickly became a business, helping people become the best face of their business or face of their brand. And that's when I met Michael, and I'll let him pick it up there.
Hey guys, I'm Michael Carr. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been in real estate since 1994. I'm an auctioneer since 1992. I've sold more residential real estate than any one person on earth, well over 178,000 transactions. But I can tell you this, I did not start my business journey until I met this beautiful lady right here. I thought I was hiring her for marketing. She taught me branding, and it changed my life beyond measure. And so it led me to people like Chadi Bazzi here that we're excited to share our expertise with you here today. So thank you for joining us.
Awesome. And I'm Chadi Bazzi, been in the real estate industry directly and indirectly now for over 25 years, sold real estate in two different marketplaces. One is on the low end, one is on the high end. We mixed the two together and was able to make over $100,000 in my first 30 days of selling real estate in market number two. Own a company called Top Listing Agent, and that's exactly what we do, is help real estate agents become top listing agents very, 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 very fast.
Ah, that's perfect. That's perfect. So that is a cursory introduction. Hey, we'll give you guys some contact info at the very end here to catch up with us and learn more about us and the story behind us. So what we thought we'd do today is we're actually going to take this master class and divide it into two different areas. Michael and I are going to teach you guys something called the personal brand litmus test. First of all, we're going to share a presentation with you because we hear from a lot of you all the time. It's like, okay, it's personal branding. I'm visual. I need to see some things, right? So we're going to walk you through seeing some things today. And most of all, seeing whether or not your brand is really working for you. And once you learn whether it is or not and how to dial that in, then we're going to hand it back over to Chadi. And Chadi's going to take you the rest of the way with those proven sales systems that you can take and insert your brand into and stand out from the rest of the world and become that top listing agent. So without further ado, Chadi, sadly, I will have you exit stage left, and we'll pull up the presentation and we'll see you here in just a few minutes.
See you soon, Chadi.
Okay. Hey, I encourage you guys, if you have any comments or if you have any questions as we go throughout this, we'll do our best to get to them. We may not get to answering them till the very end, but if we see them and it fits the timing, we'll answer them right away. So do comment. And first of all, definitely let us know where you guys are watching from. We love to know that. We've got real estate clients in 47 states here in the U.S., and I guarantee you we've got some of you on here today, and we appreciate you. Yeah, I hope so too. All right, here we go, guys. So what we're going to start with is a quote that I think everybody should know, is that 98% of people will actually meet your brand before they meet you. And that is huge, guys. And the reason we're talking about personal branding today is the main purpose of a brand is to actually attract the right people and inspire them to want to do business with you before they even meet you. So how do you know whether your brand is actually doing that for you? Well, I mean, is your brand helping you or is it hurting you? Well, today you're going to find out because we're going to walk you through our personal brand litmus test.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a good quote from Tonya's book originally. You see, great branding isn't just about being known for your profession. It's about being known for being different in your profession. And if you haven't defined exactly how you're different, well, then you become viewed as a commodity, right? Mm-hmm. Many of us real estate agents, we know exactly what that feels like, right? And when it happens, your prospect is left choosing who they're going to work with based on three criteria that you want to stay away from. Number one, they're going to choose the cheapest person to work with. Number two, they're going to choose somebody that are already connected with, whether they are experienced and the best person for that job or not. And or they're going to go for the most convenient. Why? Because you as a person on the outside have not yet given them a better reason to work with you. In other words, you have not built your value to them.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. And when you haven't built your value, you can't possibly justify your worth. And think about that today, guys. You're constantly faced with justifying the commission that you're charging. Yeah, exactly. That's a better word for it. So before we get started on the personal brand litmus test, let's run through two major myths that we hear all the time about personal branding. Okay, number one, there's a lot of confusion between marketing and branding. So we're going to clear that up right away, okay? Marketing, in our simplistic definition here, is using different marketing channels or platforms to get a message out in front of your ideal clients. However, your brand is that message and image that you're putting into those marketing channels and systems. Those are two very different things.
Yeah. And when you hear somebody talking about out here, because branding is a very big topic right now, right? A lot of chatter about it. But most of the time when you hear somebody say, hey, we'll help you build your brand, you need to be sure immediately that you separate the difference in building a brand and promoting a brand, because 90% of the things out there that say they're building a brand, they're really just giving you a place to promote it. All right. You have to build your brand first, and then everything else you do from there on is promoting your brand. All right. And it sets you apart because everyone's using that same marketing channels out there. All of us realtors know the tools that we have at our disposal. Everybody knows those things. Everybody uses social media. Everybody uses their videos. Everybody uses their email in drip campaigns. But are you using it differently? That's the question.
Yeah, it is. And the difference is in how you stand out on social media, video, email, all those different platforms. Because if you are experiencing any challenges, like your marketing isn't working, you're not getting in front of the right people, you're constantly getting questioned about how much commission you want, the problem is actually not in your marketing, the problem is in your brand. Okay. And we're going to talk more about that later. But okay, myth number two.
Yeah.
Big one.
Yeah. Many people believe that if they have a logo, a photo, and a tagline, then their brand is complete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But while those things are important, they're just pieces, right? They're just elements of a brand, part of the overall puzzle, if you will. And we actually consider 77 different criteria when we build a personal brand. Because why? Your personal brand's really an ecosystem. It's built on an entire ecosystem.
Yeah, when we build brands, we actually consider 77 different criteria that we dig into to try to be sure that we capture all of that. And we build that into an ecosystem. Here is an example of my literal ecosystem as of first quarter of 2023, okay? And the reason this is important is because this graph represents the different areas that our customers are coming from. And it's all because of my brand, the brand that Tonya built for me 11 years ago, and I'm still using it today. I know where the marketing for our brokerage is for best results. That's what it boils down to. There is my ROI. And I was one of those people prior to this that her teaching me this. I just thought marketing was just spend a bunch of money, right? But it's not. And I want to stress that without a detailed brand, without a dialed in brand, you're going to flounder just like I did back then. Right. And you'll end up doing what Tonya called spray and pray marketing, right? Everybody's like, oh, only 50% of marketing works. The problem is you don't know which 50%, so you got to do 100% of it. Well, it's not exactly true, because if you dial in your brand, you're going to be able to pinpoint those things, all right? I know where our leads are coming into our brokerage and where they're coming from and how they're getting there, and that means it's repeatable. That means that I wash, rinse, repeat, and do it over and over and over again, stacking results every time.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we've kind of set the tone and we've covered those two major myths, let's move on to the personal brand litmus test. Okay. When these 4 questions come up, I encourage you guys to screenshot these. They're going to be really important. And if you have a chance to write down your answers to these right now, that's going to be even more important. But hey, we start here because, as Dr. Phil says, the first step is in admitting there's a problem, right?
Exactly. All right. The first question that you need to ask yourself for your brand litmus test is my brand super defined? In other words, have you answered the 5 critical questions that all brands must answer with great clarity? Okay. I'm going to give you these, and I sure will put them in the notes too. Okay. Number 1, exactly who do you serve? You feel like she said you can screenshot this. Also, how do you serve them? Which is number 2. What qualifies you to serve them? And then how does that make their life better? That is a very important one. But the most important of all is what makes you different from everyone else who's also attempting to serve that exact same customer.
Yeah. Because think about this, and this goes back to our statement about marketing. How would you even know where to market or what to say in your marketing unless, first of all, you know who it is you're attracting? So those 5 questions are very powerful. And actually, that's where your personal branding journey begins. A lot of people ask, okay, what's the first thing you would recommend to somebody when they're looking at rebranding or starting their personal brand from scratch? That's it, guys. Screenshot this. This is the most important. You have to start here, especially, as Michael said, the last one, what makes you different?
It's tough. This isn't the type of thing that's done in 30 minutes, but it's definitely going to get you thinking, right? And the reason why you want to seek help for things like this is because it is impossible to read the label when you're inside the jar. And I'm talking to you. I was inside. In fact, I didn't even know there was a jar, or that I was inside the jar, or that the lid was on me until Tonya pointed it out. And then I was like, wow, and unfortunately, we can't tell you exactly in this 20-minute presentation what's going to make you different. So it takes rolling up your sleeve and thinking about this, but I'm telling you, it's not time wasted. Trust me on that. Okay. We're going to give you some example. Here's one of our clients from Carlsbad, California.
Yeah.
Sherry Harrington.
So Sherry's a great friend and a client, and she reached out to us because she was actually in an affluent neighborhood, but she had not been able to land any listings in that neighborhood because, as everybody tells us, there's already a dominant agent there, right? If I had a nickel for every time I heard that story, right? And we have answers for that too. If you want to talk about that, hey, hit us up in the comments and we'll circle back around and talk about that a little bit. But here's Sherry's story. She was getting postcards from her competitors in this affluent neighborhood where she lived almost weekly. And one day she brought them in, laid them out on the counter, and her husband came by and looked at them, and he said,
and hers was in there.
Yeah, hers was sitting there too, and hers was very basic looking. And he said, you need help with branding. What are you waiting for? Right. And so that's when she ended up reaching out to us. And in fact, Chadi, you may not know this, but how she found out about us was through your podcast.
Yep, that's right.
Yes, exactly. So soon after her brand was built and properly defined, she got 2 new listings in her neighborhood totaling almost $6 million in sales. Okay. That's what we mean by being super defined and intentional with your brand. Okay. So this is just an example of when you've got number 1 dialed in and your brand is super well defined, then you achieve results like this.
That's right. And so if you have all those questions answered, like with great clarity,
those 5 questions
that we talked about, if you already know the answer to those and you could spout them off right there, you've done really good. And you can put a check mark on that, and let's move on to number 2. If not, then think about that. Write down your notes, because you're going to want to put some thought into those 5 questions and get those answered, and then move on to question number 2. All right.
Here we go.
Is my brand developed? to showcase these things right now, right? And both my messaging, very important, and my brand imagery, which is far more important than people think, because it's not just enough to know the answers to those questions. You have to show it in your brand.
Oh, wait, that rhymes.
Yeah.
It's not enough to know, you have to show. Write that one down too.
That's it. Yep.
Okay, so you got to ask yourself, does my brand messaging clearly articulate the answers to those 5 questions? Is my image aligned with that message? In other words, is all the imagery I put in there support what I want to be known for? And is it immediately apparent what I want to be known for? Those are the questions you got to ask yourself, okay? And then now that takes us to our next case study for you guys. And this lady comes out of New Orleans. She's a phenomenal lady. Her name's Leslie Smith. When she reached out to us, she knew what she wanted to portray. She just didn't really know how to put it all together. She was literally walking the line between deciding whether she wanted to be known as a real estate agent or a real estate investor. And we showed her how with her brand, she could actually be both and how to dial in that message and imagery to articulate that. So she has to date my very favorite quote from any of our clients. And I love this and I love her. She says, now that my brand is built, I no longer have to compete with anybody else. And literally that's the same for every single one of you out there. No one is like you. You have to unveil your own inner star. And once you do that and you develop the things that set you apart, like in this case, that number 2 question was, is my brand developed in the way that I have defined it to show those things that set me apart? In her case, it wasn't. She knew what set her apart. It wasn't developed. When she got it developed, she realized, I don't have any more competitors. It's a powerful moment.
It really is.
Yeah.
Question number 3 in a personal brand litmus test is my brand displayed correctly and consistently everywhere? Everywhere. And on the surface, this seems like it would be a goofy thing to ask yourself, of course, but you would be surprised, right? And you may even be surprised when you start looking at your own stuff. If there's no consistency, folks, there's no recall. It's just the way it is. Yeah. It takes over and over and over again. People you're trying to reach are very busy. And you have to continue to give them that message over and over and over and over and over again, the same consistent message, right? Yep. Does my website accurately reflect my brand? Does it match my social media platforms? Are there overlays and branding on my videos, in my email campaigns? Like, you literally have to go through all of this and be sure that every one of these are displayed. Your brand is very clear on every one of those platforms. Yeah, absolutely. And to indicate how that can change your life, let's look at Nick and Beth Flair-Lagi. They are from Venice, Florida. They're an awesome couple. And they were actually struggling with how to set themselves apart, right? Because like everybody else, right? One of the places they struggled most was marketing, because they felt like it either took them forever to get to design a marketing piece, or if they outsourced it, they just ended up with emails back and forth and so many revisions and never really ended up with what they wanted. Well, why? Because they didn't have the brand dialed in to put into that marketing. So once the brand was built, they had everything at their fingertips, and they'll tell you what literally used to take them 2 or 3 days of back and forth to design now takes 15 minutes because everything is in one place. And what they say is their marketing is so easy now, it's not funny. That quote's directly taken from them. So that really shows what happens when you dial your brand in and display it properly everywhere, which relates right back to that question. Yep. And finally, the ultimate litmus test question for your brand is actually a 2-part question. Okay. So pay attention to this. Question number 4 is my brand making me money? That's very big. Like, we are not just in it for our health. We're in it to hopefully make a profit, right? Am I charging what I'm worth? And there's no big mystery to these questions. It's straightforward, because when it comes to real estate, one of the toughest challenges, obviously, that we face is justifying our commissions, or getting that listing, getting more than one listing, right? And it's because it comes in real estate as our biggest, that's our biggest challenge. Yeah. And if you find out you're constantly trying to justify that and getting challenged, it's because 100% of your brand does not precede you. It's not showcasing your true value, because what you're going to find when that happens, and then you're going to start getting more and more of those lovable customers and customers that will give you reviews and scream your praises that just attract more customers. And when it's dialed in, then you're going to see your life get a lot better. Yeah. Yeah. And here's an example of
how this particular question helped another of our clients. This is Marianne Elsester. She's in New Jersey and one of my favorite people.
Absolutely.
She came to
fantastic.
us. She is. She came to us she said, I want to portray a very approachable presence coming from a place of service, but at the same time, make sure that her strength came across, right? And that's a delicate balance, right? So she wanted to, why did she want to do this? Just to attract the people that were a best fit for her. So she didn't waste time and energy in the wrong meetings with the wrong people. She says the best result of her brand is that she's been able to get her time back, some of her time back. In fact, she says, I'm going on fewer appointments and converting more. What does that mean? It means more money and less time, working smarter, not harder. Okay. And I want to say this for a moment. Everybody's idea of success can be totally different. We've had people come to us and say, okay, I need to double my income. I really do. And we can help you with that, right? We've had people come to us and say, okay, I'm making enough money. It's okay, but I'm working myself to death to get to that point. I really want to work smarter, not harder. And so that's where Marianne was. So no matter what your idea of success is, to be able to spend more time with your family, to go on vacations and have somebody back at the office to cover for you. I know that what Chadi does will help you guys dial into that like nobody's business. And it begins with the brand as well. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because I don't want anybody seeing somebody else's success here and thinking it has to be yours. Your idea of success is your own.
Amen. So let's recap the litmus test. Those 4 questions again are, number 1, is my brand super defined and does it answer the 5 critical questions that all brands must ask? And most importantly, the one that says, what makes me different? Okay. Number 2, is my brand developed to showcase these things right now in both my brand image messaging and its imagery, because they got to match. Picture's worth 1,000 words. It's got to be right picture, right words. And is it immediately apparent what makes me different, sets me apart? Number 3, is my brand displayed correctly and consistently everywhere, not just some places, absolutely everywhere. And number 4, is my brand making me money and am I able to charge what I'm really worth and at a bare minimum not have to defend it as much? How many of these you answer no to? If you did maybe 1 or more, then you've got some questions, all right? And leave some questions in the comments and we're going to be glad to try to hit those up and get those answered for you. Right? If you answered yes to all of them, then hallelujah. You're going to listen to the next half. Then Chadi's going to tell you how to put that thing to work.
Okay. Yep. And if you did answer no to some of those questions, I assure you the problem is not in your marketing. The problem is in your brand. And that's why we're here today. So here's the real question before we wrap it up. How do you fix it? Right? Well, fortunately, that's where we come in because you fix it with our 3D formula for profitable personal brands. And that's another thing I want to share with you guys. When you get your brand dialed in, there are certain things you repeat over and over wherever you appear, right? For us, it's BrandFace is all about profitable personal brands and change how you're seen and charge what you're worth. Right? Because that's what a brand does for you. It puts you in the right position to be able to charge what you're worth. And so we're going to walk you through just real quick our 3D freedom formula right now. And those 3 steps are define, develop, and display. Okay. So first you want to define your ideal customers and your point of differentiation.
Second, it's time to develop everything you need to market in that point of differentiation. Those branding elements are made up of the 2 areas we talked about, messaging and brand imagery. Messaging includes things like your brand identifier, your elevator pitch, your biography, and the imagery includes things like your brand colors, your logo, your icons, your background images, and photos of you.
Yep. And I know we're glossing over these things real quick, but it's a system and it's a very tight system and it's done in order and it produces exactly the outcome that you want to elevate yourself to achieve the life that you deserve in your business and in your life, actually. So, all right.
And then finally, after your brand is well defined, you need to display it everywhere, consistently everywhere. We go right back to consistency and displaying it exactly like it's supposed to. And you need to get it out there. And I want to say this as a caveat. If any of you have been in business for a minute, you know that we need to be doing this more now than ever ever, ever, ever. Real estate is still very good in the United States. It's going to be good in the United States, but we are experiencing a little bit of a lull, and many of y'all are feeling that. If you will put the work to your brand right now and listen to what Chadi's going to tell you at the end of this to finish us up, you're going to put yourself at the front of the line for those that survive any downturn in any market at any time.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, one of the things that I've loved about this journey is actually seeing our clients change, because it hits at my heart, right? And here's a quote of ours from some time back. A great brand doesn't just change how others see you, it changes how you see yourself. Mm-hmm. And I want to leave you guys with that thought on our end, because it truly does. Everything begins from within, right? And hey, if you guys want to hear about case studies from some of the people that we talked about in their own words, Leslie's going to put up a link for you guys here in just a moment to the actual testimonials playlist on our YouTube channel, where you'll find clips from those folks, so you can hear it straight from them, and lots of other clients on that YouTube channel as well. So.
Yep. All right. Now we're ready. We hope you guys got something out of this. And now we're ready. Drum roll, please, for the Mr. Chadi Bazzi, the man of the hour, the tower of power, the rage of his age, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it.
Yeah, one more time, because that sounded good. I love it. Thank you.
Do it again, Michael.
Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Chadi Bazzi, the man of the hour, the tower of power, the rage of his age, ladies and gentlemen.
And top listing agent master.
I love it. I love it. Guys, again, it's an honor to be here. I am in the next however many minutes I have. I'm going to try to give you as much as I possibly can, as fast as I possibly can. And I want what I give you today is something that you can actually apply today to take your brand, your life, and your business to the next level. So I say, who's ready for that? But I can't hear them, but it's all good. Awesome.
Let's do it. We're exiting stage left now. It's all yours.
Let's get the ball rolling. All right. So what I want to cover with you guys today are like 3 different categories. Number one is I'm going to share with you what I believe is the most important deciding factor that is going to cause you to do much more business than you're doing right now. However much more business you want to do, and or continue to do the same kind of business you're doing if that's what you choose to do. However, work way less. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to point you in the right direction, and I'm going to say to you, look, if you want to make money, if you want to take listings fast, this is the 3 areas that you need to focus on more than anything else. Now, there's no right or wrong lead generation system. We all like to serve people, completely different in different marketplaces, etc. That's totally on you. But if you want to know where the money is, like in over 25 years of being in this industry and coaching, been on over 30,000 one-on-one coaching calls, what were those 3 lead generation systems that moved the needle the fastest and created super mega top producing agents in all marketplaces across the country? That's the 3 things I'm going to share with you. And finally, I'm going to share with you how to effectively speak in a way that gets people to say, yes, I want to do business with you. So what is the first and most important thing? Let's get started. I don't have any slides. You better take some good notes on this. Okay. So the first thing that you need to really identify, just like, Michael and Tonya were talking about, like identifying your brand and all that good stuff. There's something else that you need to really identify. And the most important thing is, what is the reason? What is the reason that I am doing this? What is the reason I got involved in real estate? What is the reason behind me doing the things I got to do every single day, whether I like it or not? What are the reasons? And what I'm finding out and speaking to agents all across the country is most people really don't have a reason, and or they've identified a reason that got them in this business, but they forgot the reason. And that's why their business is suffering and or lacking the results that they desire. Now, I'm instantly reminded of a client that I was still working with, and her name is Donna. She was 1.5 years in the business. Okay, 1.5 years in the business. When she got onto a conversation with me, I said, hey, so how you doing? She's like, I've done 0 deals in 1.5 years. 0 transactions in 1.5 years is like crazy. And she's like, I want to get out of the business. And I'm like, why did you get in this business? What were the reasons that you got involved in this business? And you know what? That is the conversation that she needed to have with somebody to reignite that desire, to reignite that fire, to reconnect with the why of why she got involved in this business. And she said, you know what? I got into it for this reason, and I am not going to give up. Help me. We got to working with each other. In the following 9 months, took 22 listings and sold all of them in a very low inventory marketplace. Had it not been connecting with the reason, she would have never done it. So I ask you, what is your reason that rips you out of bed every single morning without an alarm clock? Or do you still need an alarm clock? What is your reason? That's what you need to connect with. So I want you to answer the question. If my life was as good as it could possibly be, what would it look like? If my business was as good as it could possibly be, what would it look like? If my relationships, my health, my mindset, my finances, my experiences were as good as they could possibly be, what would it look like? It's time to dream again. But this time, what we want to do is we want to bring the dream to reality. And the way that we do that is by connecting the mind that thinks of these things and the emotion that drives you into the action that you need to take to get that. So the way that we're going to do that is you're going to do the following. Once you identify what life and business is going to look like, it's like, goal setting 101. This is what I want. This is why I want it. What I want you to do is I want you to visit yourself in the future. Visit yourself 1 year in the future, maybe 2 years in the future, maybe 3 years in the future, and you're going to have your future self write you a letter telling you about how amazing it's been to reach that journey. And then I want you to read that letter every single day until you have it memorized. Every single day until you get to the point to where it's time to go to bed, but you are having a hard time sleeping. And it's not because you don't know how to pay your next bill. It's because you're that excited about waking up to grab the future and bring it into reality today. Some of you guys may be familiar with the name Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast, many years ago, did the following. Sitting in his bedroom, he recorded 3 videos. One of them was like himself 3 months from that date of the recording, talking to himself of where he would be 3 months from now, and then 6 months from now, and then 3 years from now. What he did is he actually uploaded those videos to YouTube and scheduled them to release 3 months, 6 months, and I think 2 years out into the future. And he wanted to, he's talking to himself and he's saying, I don't know where you're going to be, but you got to be at least 1 million, subscribers. Today, he has hundreds of millions of subscribers. Some of his videos get 600-700 million views. So there is power in knowing where you're going and then connecting emotionally to that place that you want to get to be driven. So what are some things that you could do on a daily basis? I want you to fully commit yourself to a minimum of 30 minutes of personal development every single day. 30 minutes of personal development every single day. 3 things I want you to do. I want you to read 10 minutes in the morning. As soon as you're done reading 10 minutes in the morning, I want you to listen to something positive for 10 minutes, like you're doing it like back to back to back. 10 minutes reading, 10 minutes listening, and then 10 minutes watching. 2 great YouTube channels to watch. My YouTube channel, BrandFace YouTube channel. 2 great places to listen to content that will develop you personally and professionally. My podcast, The Top Listing Agent Show, and the Be Bold podcast with Tonya and Michael. Reading good books. We'll give you guys some recommendations. I'm not going to do that right now, but as you interact with us after or ask questions later, we will go ahead and hook you up with some of that. So now, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about lead generation because I believe lead generation is very, 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 very simple. It's easy to generate leads. I want to spend a little bit more time talking about how do I convert the leads. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. The 3 lead generation systems that I'm going to share with you, are going to be enhanced supported and ignited like fire for faster results if you have your branding in place. Because the moment that you generate a lead, what the lead is going to do between the time that they met you and the time that they actually meet with you is they are going to research you. And what the heck are they going to find? Blue color here, red color here, this logo here, this logo that, here I'm speaking to this, there I'm speaking to that. That right there is going to disqualify you guys, my friends. So make sure you get your branding in place. Make sure you get your branding in order, because it is going to take what I'm going to share with you to a whole new level much quicker. So the 3 most important lead generation systems, and I'm going to give them to you guys in the order of importance. Number 1 is your database. That's your database. Like if you don't already have a database, a CRM of some kind, you got to get one. But here's what I know. Like I said, I've been on almost 35,000 one-on-one coaching calls. 9 out of 10 people that I speak to, they just have a list of names. A list of names is nothing more than a list of names. Okay. It's the relationship that you develop with these people. You got to have a systematic. So here's what I want every single person here to do immediately. You're going to grab your phone and forget about the database. We'll start here. Okay. You're going to grab your phone. You're going to click on the phone icon. You're going to click on contacts, and then you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and it's going to tell you how many people you have in your phone. I want you to, in the comments, let me know how many people do you have in your phone, whatever that number is. Let me see if anybody's going to type it up. Anybody's going to do this. Come on, let's get going with this. Okay. Oh, there's Donna. Donna's in here. Donna is amazing. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to call every single person. Call every single person. Do not let it be a business call. It's not the business relationship that they just want. They want to like you. They want to trust you. They want to feel good about referring you, etc. So we got to develop that business relationship. I want you to call every single person. Let it be a business call. Hey, Michael, Chadi here. How you doing? Just wanted to check in. That's it. They're going to say, how are you? And the conversation will always end up saying, hey, so what are you doing nowadays? I'm selling real estate. Do you have any questions or needs at this time? That's it. Just build that relationship. Then what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that you are in your database. What you're going to do in your database, let's say you have, for simple math, let's say you have 200 people in your database. What you're going to do is you're going to count how many days you're going to work every 90 days. So let's say you're going to work 50 days in 90 days. You take 200, divide it into 50, and that tells you that you got to call 4 people in your database every single day, and you would have spoken to all 200 people in the next 90 days, and then you repeat the process every single quarter. That way you're in conversation with these people at least 4 times a year, and that right there is going to put you in a place of having better, more meaningful relationships that will lead to more repeat and referral business. The second place, and that's where Donna got her 22 listings, is for sale by owners. Every time I say FSBO, spell FSBO for me, they say FSBO. I say, what does FSBO stand for? They say for sale by owner. I say wrong. Fastest source of business opportunity. Fastest source of business opportunity. How fast can you take a listing? I took my first for sale by owner listing in 24 hours. First day I prospected, second day I listed them. It's that simple. Now, a lot of people are going to be like in the mindset of like, but they want to sell themselves. They want to save the commission. They don't want to work with the realtor. But statistics show us that over 80% of them end up listing with a real estate agent. And that's kind of like what Donna said to me when we started talking about that. And all of a sudden she listed 22 of them in a matter of 9 months. So where do you get your for sale by owners from? Free source, forsalebyowner.com. Free source, Zillow.com. Free source, Craigslist.com. forsalebyowner.com, Zillow.com, Craigslist.com. But my favorite of all, without having to do any legwork or research, I would go to vulcan7.com. Go to Vulcan7, give them a call, tell them Chadi Bazzi sent me, and they will hook you up with some extra bonuses and discounts. That is the best place to get the for sale by owners. People say, hey, what do I say to a for sale by owner? We're going to cover that in a few moments. The third lead generation system is expired listings. It's expired listings. I wrote down some statistics before I came on here, and here's what the statistics say. 28% of all expired listings will relist with the same agent they have right now. 28%. What does that mean? 72% are open game. 72% are open business opportunities for you to be working. Here's another thing. What we came up with. Okay. Over 50% of those are going to relist in the next 3 days. Over 50% of those will relist in the next 3 days, meaning some people you speak to, you could be at their home today or tomorrow or the day after and in the MLS within 3 days. Okay. Now, another statistic that we got right here is that most that relist will do so with the first or second agent that contacted them. The first or second agent that contacted them. That's why each and every single morning we tackle them right away. And then again, what do I say? Look, who cares, man? Just pick up the phone and make the phone call. You've been in this business long enough. You're supposed to be an expert. You know, I'll put it this way. I'll say, get it going now, get it perfect later. Get it going now, get it perfect later. Who cares? If you don't know what to say, just identify what you need to learn to say. You're having conversations with them. The first person says, whatever they say, you did not know how to respond to it. You make a note of it. Okay, I need to learn how to answer this question. I need to learn how to handle that objection. My opener is not working. I need a better opener, etc. By the way, if you want any of those scripts, just let us know in the group or in the chat or whatever. We'll make sure that we get those out to you free of charge. So, database for sale by owners and expireds is all you need. Now, you can do other stuff. I want you to do other stuff, but I say make the money here and get that consistency going. So now, the even better part of this whole entire conversation that's going to make your lead generation work is going to be you actually having a sales process that's going to turn you into a man or woman of influence. Your brand is going to open up a lot of doors for you. It's going to present you with a lot of opportunities. But if you can't do this correctly, then that's all they were, is opportunities that were unfulfilled. So complete the puzzle. So how do we do that? Here is the sales process. Step number 1, assume the sale. Step number 1, assume the sale. The sale has got to take place in your mind before it could ever take place in the physical universe. A lot of people are assuming the opposite of that which they are wanting. And no wonder they're not getting the responses that they would love to get when they are interacting and speaking with people. The sales got to take place in your mind before it takes place in the physical universe. And then you got to act out these assumptions. We were on a training yesterday in our listings on demand top listing agent community. And one of our agents who was broke literally 5 months ago, and now top listing agent in his office for the last 3 months in a row, shared something that he is currently doing on his listing appointments. The moment that he knocks on the door and they open up the door, the first thing he says, hey, I've already taken a look around your home and I've already figured out where's the best place to put the sign. And he's got the sign in his hand and then he just puts it right there on the door. So they see him coming in with the sign. Look, he's coming in the presentation with the assumption that they are going to work with each other. This is not a woo-woo, ha-ha conversation like I'm going to think it and it is going to happen. No, this is a confidence booster. This is a sign of authority. This is a sign of like, I am the freaking damn expert and I am here to serve you and give you business. So that's part number 1, is to assume the sale. Step 2 in part number 1 is to use assumptive language patterns. What you are thinking and what is coming out of your mouth have to be congruent. You can't think that you are going to take the listing and say something along the line of like, Mr. Seller, should you decide to list with me, then I am going to A, B, or C. There's incongruency there because you're thinking you are going to take the listing and you're saying, should you decide to list with me? What you need to say is something along the line of like, Mr. Seller, since I am the agent that you have selected to represent you, what I did, boom, 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 boom. See, I'm speaking as if we're already doing something. You're on the listing appointment and you're like, Mr. Seller, look, nobody knows this home better than you do. What are some of the things that you want me to highlight in my marketing when we go on market later on today? Like you're speaking as if this is the outcome that's already happening. So I don't know how much time I got, but I'm going to go very, very, very fast. So step number 1 is assume the sale and use assumptive language patterns. Step number 2 is to create the connection. You need to establish rapport. You need to quickly get them to like you. You need to quickly get them to trust you. And you need to quickly get them to want to do business with you. So how do we do that? How do we do that? This is like a very long conversation, which requires a lot of training. As a matter of fact, in our Real Estate NLP Academy, we have a 40-minute video that walks you through how to create connections with anyone, anywhere, anytime, make them feel like they've known you forever. It's about a 40-minute video, and we make them watch it once a week for 12 weeks. That's how important it is. By the way, if anybody want a copy of that, let me know, and I'll go ahead and send you the link to that video. I don't know how we're going to get it out to you, but I'm sure somebody's taking notes on who wants it and all that good stuff, but we'll definitely gift you that because we're not going to have too much time to cover it, and I want you to be able to apply it into your business. Number 3 is the discovery process. You got to get very good. You got to get very good at getting. See, what we said is in part number 2, you're creating the connection. That means they're going to trust you. They're going to open up to you. Now you got to ask the right questions. So this is what, a lot of gurus say pre-qualifying. But what is it that you're really pre-qualifying for? Most people are pre-qualifying for, do they want to sell? Do they want to buy? What is their motivation? Okay, what do they want? What do they need? What do they, what problems do they have that they want to solve? Or they're thinking to themselves, what is the time frame? Do they have the money, pre-approval, etc. I say this is the least important stuff. This is the least important stuff to pre-qualify for. Why are some of my clients converting at 70 and 80% of the people that they generate as leads? Is because we are pre-qualifying for something way more important than that. What we are discovering and pre-qualifying for is, how does this person think? Think about that. How do they think? Who would ever think of that? I want to know how you think, because I know that if I can shape your thinking, I can get you to think the thoughts that are going to get you the results the quickest, the thoughts that are going to make you side with me and say, if I do this, I'm only going to do it with this guy and no one else. I want to pre-qualify for how they make decisions. I want to know what is the process for making decisions. Because if I know how they decide, then I could push the right buttons to get them to choose that which I want them to choose, which is in their best interest. The third thing that we pre-qualify for is, how do they process information? How do they process all this information so I can give them the information in a way that fits them, in a way that makes it a no-brainer deciding factor to work with me? Look, some of you guys are amazing presenters and you share a lot of valuable information incorrectly. So your prospect at the end of your meeting says, well, I want to think it over. That means you did something incorrectly. You presented the right stuff in the wrong way. So step number 4 is your presentation. Look, step number 1, again, assume the sale. Man, you're confident. You're the authority, etc. Number 2, you got to create that connection. They're going to love you. Number 3, you got to find out everything that's important to them, how they think, how they process information, how they make decisions, and all that good stuff. And then your presentation is custom tailored. People tell you canned listing presentation. I say, no, not canned listing presentation. Not everybody is built the same. Everybody is different. There is a structure for that. And then everything that we discovered up to this point is where we fill in the blanks and we give them that. Hey, I'll give you guys a question that we ask prior to the listing presentation. And I want every single person to write down this question. It's very simple. Mr. Seller, tell me specifically, what is it that you are looking for in a real estate professional like me? Boom, they're going to tell you exactly what they are wanting, and guess exactly what should show up, exactly what they told you they are wanting. Step number 5 is the easiest one of them all, is the close. By the way, if you did step 1, 2, 3, and 4, you don't need to close. They're going to like, what do we got to do to get started? Step number 6 might even be deleted, and it is handling objections. No need to handle objections when you delivered a great presentation. Now, there's a place and time for some objections because some of them are very valid, but for the most part, and I'm talking about like 90+% of the time, we delete them by following this exact sales process. All right, Tonya. All right, Michael, let's go. Come on. Come on back.
Love it, Chadi.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love it, love it, love it.
Yep.
I love what you said about handling the objections. I've always tried to handle those somehow inside that presentation, or even a piece of media that they might get from us before you even get to the presentation, right? It's like, okay, I know you've been avoiding this because of this, this, and this. Let's talk about that. Let's air it out. Here's why that's wrong. Here's what you should be thinking. Here's how we're going to handle that. And just handle that up front. And it's just the greatest way to do that. But I love your energy, Chadi.
It's the Colombian stuff.
I love it.
It's great, man. I
That
love it.
Colombian stuff.
Yeah.
We have several people asking for the video. We'll get a screen grab of this and make sure that everybody's got it. I want to give a shout out to some of our clients on here today. Jennifer Fast, Cindy Jameson.
We love you.
Oh, yes,
Cindy, we love
do.
you.
Yes. I haven't seen you in a while, Cindy. It's so good to see you.
Janine Best.
Janine Best.
A killer in the industry.
Sydney's on here. Leslie's
Sydney.
on here. I'm trying to look and see who else we might have missed here. But we thank you so much for your support. And I know Chadi has some folks out there on his behalf too, because they've been posting such nice things about you. So,
Yep.
so it's so great to be here with you today. And I certainly hope all of you have enjoyed this masterclass. Chadi, like I said, we'll grab the screenshots of these people, get them the things that they asked for. And also I want to, if you would pop up, Leslie, the Facebook group for Build Your Real Estate Brand. If you guys go there and join that group, we share a lot of stuff inside that group that is similar to this masterclass and take you just one step closer to perfecting that personal brand and learning how to build it. And then also, if you would put up that top listing agent group URL for Chadi, that URL gets you straight to Chadi's Facebook group too. So you've got the personal branding and the sales all covered there with those two groups. So I encourage you guys to jump on and also send us your questions through that group. You know, send us your questions. People don't take enough advantage of groups they join. I got to say that. People
Agreed.
join them and then they just sit quiet or they never come back and check them. Well, think about why you joined them in the first place. Like Chadi said, why'd you get into what you're doing in the first place? What was your why and what's your passion? Remember, you joined a group for some reason in the first place because you really enjoyed that person's thought process or expertise or whatever it was. So take advantage of it. Ask the questions.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Chadi, what I love about you so much is the you just dispel limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are destroyers in careers.
Yes.
They're destroyers. They get people down. They don't want to get out of the bed. Like, folks, if you don't get out of the bed every day, like Chadi said, jumping up out of bed ready to go, you're missing something in your dream. You haven't tied that together. Right? You haven't taken why you got into it and put it into action. And I find that most of the time it's because you're waking up confused every day And a brand's going to help you get rid of that confusion. It's going to cut a lot of the clutter. You know, real estate is so broad. Wouldn't you say, Chadi? There's so many different ways to make money in it. And there's so many different ways to approach it. And there's so many different ways. But if you don't do it like Chadi's saying and approach it with getting rid of those limited beliefs, you're just going to be held down every day until you just don't want to do it anymore. And nobody should live that way. And real estate is a fantastic career when you really dial it in and know what you're doing.
Yep. I want to say something about that belief. You know, for me, the word believe is the most important word. And the reason it became the most important word for me and the most important thing that I wanted to develop within me to be the example of what is possible for people. And is the one thing that I want to inject everyone that I come in contact with, because sometimes, first of all, a long time ago, I didn't have belief in me. I didn't have any confidence. I'm a shy introvert. Like I see my shadow and I'm like, somebody's behind me. I better turn the other way. Somebody asked me a question and he said, Chadi, what is the difference between a super mega successful person and just an average person? And I said one works more. Like everything I said, I thought was the right answer and it was the incorrect answer. And he said, Chadi, the average person believes that he is average, therefore he acts accordingly. The above average mega top producer believes that he's an above average mega producer and acts accordingly. So the way that you're acting, the way that you're behaving, the way that you're thinking, the way that you're feeling is all a product about that which you believe about yourself.
I love it. And it's exactly right. And in the middle of believe is a lie for most people, right? And we get hung up right there in the middle in that LIE of believe, and we get stuck there. So many people, and it's a human phenomenon. It's not an individual phenomenon. There's nobody that has seen success that has not overcome that. And so we just encourage, even if it's just one listener out there, overcome that in yourself, because everything is possible. Everything Chadi says and everything I've learned from Tonya have been put into action in my life, and I've seen that over and over and over again. And that's why every day is Saturday for me. Because I get up every day doing exactly what I want to do. And I love it, every second of it. So especially getting to talk to you guys today.
So true. I'd like to round this out before we all exit and just share our final thoughts with everyone. And I'll begin with this. You guys deserve to have the best life. You have to believe that you deserve to have the best life. And sometimes it takes going through a process to pull out that inner star, to unveil that inner star. And that's a lot of what personal branding can give to you, because I know a lot of times people show up and they say, I don't have a big story. I don't have this rags to riches story. My personal brand's kind of boring. And we say, no, absolutely not. No story's too small, right? And so when you figure out what your why is, as Chadi said, and reawaken, then you have all of the confidence to put that story out there. And that's what's going to propel you from where you are now to where you really deserve to be. So that's my last thought, and I'll pass it to Michael and then Chadi.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to say quiet. I can't agree more with these two incredible people I get to share this with. So Chadi, take us home, brother.
I'll just end it with the following quote, and it's a quote that I live by. And if you follow me on Instagram, you see that I post like as soon as I wake up every single morning, like 4:44 a.m. I post something, so I'm awake. And the reason I do that is because I want the people to know what it is that I am up to, and I want them to hold me accountable to it. So it's an invisible form of accountability. But the quote is this, and it's the quote I want you to live by: if it is to be, it is up to me.
I love that. Yep. My mom actually told me about that quote years ago, and it really resonated with me because at the end of the day, it's you who has to make that choice. Mm-hmm. So true. Love that quote. Hey, love all of you guys, and especially you, Chadi. Thank you so much for spending this time with us.
Yeah,
and
thank you for doing this with us.
I hope that this is able to help a lot of you. You know where to reach us, guys, and we welcome you. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.